Hello and welcome to this edition of Access All Areas. This episode we talk to Jess, the owner of Orange Whip, a late night nightclub in Ringwood of the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. We talk to Jess about what it takes to actually be successful in the late night entertainment business. Enjoy the episode and please do, if you get a chance, subscribe to our YouTube channel to update yourself on things that are happening in the licensed hospitality industry around Victoria. Well, Jess, thanks for your time. Orange Whip here at Ringwood. Could you just tell us a little bit about Orange Whip and how it came to be?
Came to be in 2008 or 2007, I think, 2006. We eventually started. We drove past the site, liked the site, and then purchased an old pool hall. And from there, we went down the track of getting a planning permit, liquor licence, which took us almost 2 years of VCAT and everything else.
And it wasn't an easy road, as I recall it. There was some opposition to opening.
Yes, there was opposition to us opening. More so business orientated. It wasn't from the local community. It was what would you call it, a commercial objection, which tied us up for nearly 2 years.
And since you've been open, so you opened the doors about what time? What year?
2008.
And you've been the operator ever since?
Correct.
For the last 8 years?
Yep, 6 years.
6 years.
Yep.
In that time, has the building or the internals gone through any renovations?
We've gone through now one major refit and 2 smaller ones.
And what was the thinking behind those?
The first one, I think when we originally built the building, we blew the budget out a little bit with court fees and legals and everything else. Which we spent upwards of best part of $1 million on nothing. So the refit probably wasn't what we wanted. So 2 years down the track, we did a refit to bring it up to the standard we thought we needed. And
have you found that the numbers of patrons that come through your door, have they been pretty constant over the last 6 years?
Good and bad. So we have good years, bad years, but overall it's been pretty consistent.
For someone who might be thinking about opening up a nightclub, what would be the recommendation that you would have for a young Jess starting out today?
Be very, very careful. Plan yourself, plan your time, plan your funds more than anything. It's a very expensive exercise before you do anything.
Someone who might be thinking about going into a nightclub, would your recommendation be that they start from scratch and build something up, or buy an existing?
I'd suggest to buy an existing and refit. So buy something run down that's got the licence you're after, and go from there, rather than doing one from scratch.
And the reasoning behind that?
Just the time frame. Like I say, we did 2 years worth of legals, so 2 years of VCAT, 2 years of councils, and like I say, burned up the best part of $1 million before we even put a hammer into the place or a nail into the place.
And of course, no money coming in through the
That is correct, and paying rent and paying lawyers and paying everyone else.
Perhaps, if again for the people watching this, what hours of trade is the liquor licence?
We've got Sunday to Wednesday between 12 p.m. and 3 a.m, and Thursday to Saturday 12 p.m. till 5 a.m, and on all the eve of public holidays.
Okay, and you don't necessarily run a nightclub with those hours without having some relationship with the local police. Can you tell me what the relationship is?
We've got a good relationship with all the licensing sergeants that handle the portfolios. Really the only police we deal with. Okay. So if there's any issues, they're generally the ones that come and talk to us.
Again, some advice for any would-be nightclub owner?
Try and get along with the local police and the local council.
Okay. Can you, without going into too many personal financial circumstances, this is a nightclub that holds how many people?
620.
What sort of, again, for someone going into the nightclub industry for the first time, bearing in mind you've made the reference already that you rent the place, what sort of financial backing would you suggest someone would need to have to open up a nightclub of comparable size and fit out and start from scratch? Bearing in mind we're talking about something perhaps with a blank canvas, an empty warehouse or whatever the case may be.
We're now at the top end. We've just with the new fit out we've just done with new LED screens and lighting, we've just tipped over to 2.5 million.
In total, so total. 6 years you've spent?
2.5.
Okay, initially?
Initially the first fit out was 1.1. Like I say, there's $1 million in that we've sort of churned up for nothing, really. But yeah, I suppose renovation costs
costs?
Just renovation costs alone are at about 1.6.
In relation to security, what's your requirement for crowd control?
Oh, it's standard licence conditions. So it's 2 for the first 100 and 1 for every 50 after.
So that effectively means so it's 8 for you.
It is 8, but we can't run this place with 8. It's impossible.
So how do you run it?
We run with a minimum of 10.
Do you find that the extra commitment to having additional security has benefited your relationship with the police and your ability to handle idiots?
Yeah, I think so. The police obviously know that we're not doing the bare minimum. We do above and beyond. On a busy night, we'll run up to 16 to 17 guys on a busy night.
At all at one time?
At one time, yeah. So at the peak of the night, that we sit between 16 and 17.
Okay. In relation to, again, from a crowd control point of view, security more generally, do you think that technology would play a part in your ability to run a good operation without too much hassle? Can you explain a little bit about that?
We've been running ID scanners for the last 10 years in different venues, but now we've just upgraded again to the latest and greatest, which is called Scantech.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Scantech's a company from WA. Their scanners are linked, so they're linked nationally. So basically, if someone does something wrong, we can flag them on the system, and in any venue they go to, we'll have that information at hand as soon as the ID is put into the system. So whether it's for a drug offence, violence, or whatever the case may be.
You as management, what's your attitude to someone who's flagged? Do they just...
Well, it depends on what they've done. Obviously, like kids make mistakes. If they've been in a scuffle or something, we'll let it slide. But drug trafficking, possession, things like that, or violence to staff, security, etc., we just no go.
And you found that that's helped the operation of your business?
Oh, hugely. Look, more so, I think the word spreads. That people understand. We get kids now that ask us, begging us to take them off the ban list because they can't get anywhere in Melbourne that they want to go to. So I think it's a bit of a makes them think before they act. And I personally think every licensed venue that's open after 1 a.m. should have one.
Would you say that, and you don't have a business like this for 6 years without some sort of scuffle where there might have been an assault or something like that, have you found that technology has ultimately helped the police to be able to identify in particular?
We can tie someone up, from camera footage. The system's got the ability you can type in there. If you knew it was someone that was wearing a red shirt, you type in red shirt and it'll bring up all the people in red shirts for the night, as it takes their photo when they come in as well. So it'll find a red shirt, and then the new update has just got the ability that if we can pull an image off a camera of their face, we can punch it into the system and it'll bring up facial recognition.
What sort of money would a new licensee be looking at if they were trying to establish a similar system in a new venue?
It's cheap. It's $100 a week.
So it's a lease arrangement?
Lease arrangement, $100 a week ongoing.
Okay, and for obviously every couple of years that would be upgraded to...
The thing is, the system, it's all online, so everything's online, so any upgrades to the system, they just push a button and all the software's upgraded, everything's upgraded.
I would imagine, I'm not trying to give a free plug to any particular organisation, but I take it that anyone who wanted further information could...
Scantech, Ring Scantech.
Probably has a website.
They do.
We've used .au, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we've used everybody. We've used distant systems, and it's by far leaps and bounds above anything that's out there.
From a security point of view, any other advice you might give a new entrepreneur?
Getting the right door staff. So pay the money and get the right guys that can run your door and stop 90% of the trouble before it comes in.
I think that's probably the issue, isn't it? If you stop it coming in the door, it's someone else's problem and not your organisation. You've got them inside, then you've got a problem getting them outside.
That's correct.
Would you, if I could just ask you a little bit about shrinkage,
yes.
Without putting too fine a point on it, it's pretty common knowledge that industry standard is shrinkage is somewhere between 5 and 10%.
We operate well below that. We wouldn't tolerate anywhere near that.
So can you explain how you've managed to achieve that?
We stock take weekly. So we stock take weekly, and we drum the staff weekly, and we ask them to explain errors, where stock's gone, because stock can't disappear obviously out of the building. So if we've got an issue, we'll keep looking until we find it and get rid of the person that's the issue.
So you're obviously expecting, for example, 20 sales of a bottle of scotch, and if a bottle of scotch is used and there's 10 sales, obviously that flags something in your systems that says something's not right.
Correct. So we stock take weekly and go through the system, check everything, double check. Any issues that we find, we, like I say, we go back until we find what the problem is.
Have you had to let staff go?
Quite a few.
And you're not, no problem with that?
Nope.
no issues with unfair dismissal? The staff have been identified?
Well, we put it on them pretty hard about whether they were stealing, giving away stock, and give them the choice to either leave or be dealt with by the police.
And everybody's...
Leaves.
There you go. You've been here for 6 years, and I know you're a family man.
Yes.
How does owning and operating a business like this,
Yes.
bearing in mind it's a nighttime business, how does that affect family life? And can you give any advice on someone who's looking to go into a nightclub, what advice you could give them?
If you've got a family, don't do it. Yeah, it's very tough not to sleep. Don't sleep on weekends, because obviously kids still get up early. But yeah, it's very tough with kids.
What would your recommendation be in relation to partnerships?
Choose the right people. Yeah, choose the right people. I had the same group of partners for 12 years, and I've just taken on a new partner in this business. But we've all got the same goals, and industry people that know the business, and make sure they've got the same goals as you.
There you go. Jess, I'd just thank you for allowing us to come in and spend a few moments of your time just for the benefit of would-be licensees, and hopefully they can get something out of it. So I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thanks, Jess.
No worries, Rob.